I don't. So I'm like, the bathrooms were super clean. Like, I'm like, I don't know, I can get used to this.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about all this. Dream scenario, huh? So,
Right.
So one of the questions I always like to ask, because I like to respect people's boundaries, is, is there anything, any topic that like you're like, Whit, I definitely don't want to talk about X, Y, or Z? Anything that come to mind?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm an open book.
All right. And anything you like want to plug that you want me to make sure I ask about? Anything in particular that like you're promoting right now that's important to you?
I'm promoting my niece's clothing line. So
come on. Wait, tell me more. Okay.
Yeah. So she's 20 and she's finishing up college, but she just started her own clothing line, which she's doing really well.
Nice.
So, Auntie helps her out. So I've been doing a little modeling on the side.
Come on back to the old days. Come on back to don't make me call out no Cinderella on this thing, and I won't do that to you.
Right.
I got to MC that thing this weekend. What's like her Instagram or her website? Because I can kind of plug it and let you talk about it like maybe towards the end.
Yeah, it's a Simple Apparel.
Simple, SIMPLE.
Mm-hmm.
And then AP. I don't know how to spell apparel, but I'm going to let this spell check help me out. L. Okay, cool. Got it. And is your Instagram public? Do you like people to follow you on Instagram or Twitter or anything like that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
okay.
My Instagram and Twitter, yeah, they're both public.
All right, at Sydne Minter. Well, what do you got? Sydney Ray now? I think it's Sydney.
No, it's Sydney. It's Sydney Rie.
Okay, got it. All right. Well, what we're going to do is Lloyd's going to bring us back with a little music, and I'm going to act like, because we pre-record all of these, and then we do the beginning and the end at a separate time. So I'm going to jump in just like I just came out of a segment break or something, and I got to plug. Okay. You remember Tia Whittington, don't you? That was at LSU, at a cap. So she sponsors some clothes that I wear. So I got to plug her shirt real quick that I got on today. And then I'm going to come right to you with our first question and get things going. And at the end, like I always say, like, thanks so much for joining us today on the GritIron Show, that kind of thing. You don't have to hang up immediately after that's over. Some people like go click. And I'm like, oh, wait, no, I was just saying that because I needed to for the recording. But you can hang on and then we can say bye officially.
Okay.
All right. Ready, Mr. Lloyd?
Ready.
All right, let's rock and roll.
Welcome to the GritIron Show with Whitney Breaux, a weekly podcast where we celebrate the perseverance, passion, and lifestyle of women on and off the field. The GritIron Show with Whitney Breaux is a part of the CJC Media Network.
Welcome back, everybody, to the GritIron Show. I'm your host, Whitney Breaux, and we're here back at it for another amazing interview with women that are breaking glass ceilings in and around the game of football and sports. Don't forget to check out our good friends at shophkyle.com. I'm sporting their I Will Not Be Shaken signature tee today, because that's right, none of the ladies that we talk to can be shaken by anything. And so you can find this signature tee at shophkyle.com and at shophkyle on Instagram and Twitter. I am so blessed and so grateful to welcome in our next guest to the GritIron Show. We've known each other for a very, very long time, but she's a mom, she's a mogul, and she's wife of Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneer Kevin Minter. Please welcome to the GritIron Show, Sydne Minter. Hey, Sid, how are ya?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. We're just rocking and rolling, continuing to find ways to celebrate amazing women that are doing great things just like you. So thank you for saying yes to being one of our first player wives to join us on the GritIron Show, because there is an incredibly important side of the story that I think, and that we've talked about, is oftentimes not shared with a lot of people. And that's the women that are behind some of these athletes that are doing great things on the field. And that's what we want to celebrate on the GritIron Show. So to get things started, I mean, Sid, tell me, in your opinion, what is like the biggest misconception that people have about what it means to be the wife of an NFL athlete?
Yes. So first, thank you for having me on the show. And yeah, the biggest misconception I would think is that we just shop and relax and have a good stress-free life. And that is the total opposite.
Tell us about it. Tell me the real deal. What really is going on?
Yeah, so I'm like running a household. So I have two kids that I'm in charge of all day. And then I have to make sure that Kevin is together, that all of his appointments or anything that he needs is together. And then on top of that, I work a full-time job.
Come on.
Yeah, so I am busy to say the least. But I mean, it's fun. It's good. I enjoy it.
And you and Kevin, I mean, you guys met at LSU, right? I mean, tell folks a little bit more about your backstory and how you guys met.
Yeah, so we met at LSU 10 years ago.
No, ma'am. Don't tell people 10 years.
Yes,
that ain't it.
I know. I know. That's crazy. Yeah, 10 years ago we met. I was a freshman. He had seen me on campus and approached a mutual friend that we had and was like, hey, man, like, you know her? And I was totally like, yeah, no, he can come talk to me.
Of course.
I don't want to have anything to do with the athlete. So, but yeah, so then we ran into each other again at a pep rally that happens in the beginning of the semester. And we kind of just went to lunch at the 5. So that was like a big deal. Like I got swiped in.
Yes, at the 5. That's like an official date whenever you're an LSU student.
Yeah. Yes, that was official. So, so from then on, like, yeah, it's just been an enjoyable ride.
And you guys have moved. I mean, so obviously y'all were students at LSU, you know, Kevin gets drafted. I mean, what was the first stop in the journey for you guys kind of post his LSU career?
Yeah, so actually when he got drafted by Arizona, he moved out to Arizona within like a month. And then I was still finishing my degree. So we were long distance for a year while I finished school. And so after I finished, then we moved to Arizona. We were there for 4 years. And then we went to New Jersey for a little while. We went to Cincinnati for a year. And then we ended up in Tampa.
I mean, a journey cross country, you know, and people probably, they hear about their favorite players being traded. They hear about them being picked up in free agency. But what is that experience like for you and for your family as you're making these moves literally across the country, sometimes overnight, or you find out one day and it's time, okay, we got to pick up and move to the next place?
Yeah. It's crazy to say the least. When he got signed with Cincinnati, I was actually, I think, 7 or 8 months pregnant with our son.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it was like the hottest summer in Arizona. So it was like 115 degrees. He had to fly out, so I had the task of packing up our apartment and moving across the country. So that was fun. And it's just crazy because you have to pick up, you create friendships, and you know, I had a job then, and so I had to kind of just leave all of that in Arizona and move to Cincinnati and kind of start all over again.
And each stop along the way, though, you probably you learn something from the place where you are, the people that you're around. I mean, what have been maybe some of the benefits that you've seen or that you've experienced in kind of having, you know, the ability to see different parts of the country, to live in different places? Have you picked up anything along the way that you've seen as a benefit?
Yeah, well, firstly, we are foodies, so I do enjoy that when we go to a new city that we always find good spots to eat. And anytime we go back, like we have our favorite spots, that's the first thing we're going to do is go eat. But yeah, it's kind of just I learned to kind of, not sob on the fact that I didn't know anybody, like just take it as a chance to, get to know people. It was a challenge to me, and, I love to accept a challenge. So, and I love meeting new people. So it was fun. It's something I learned. It's something that I take on now. And it's definitely a strength of mine now. I can pretty much go anywhere, make friends, and set up a new life.
and keep it rocking, keep it moving. And like you said, food is a common theme here, because you talked about the 5 starting at LSU and then the restaurants that you guys love all around the place. And I mean, we talked about it. I mean, Sid, you're a mom, you've got 2 beautiful kids, you're in real estate, and I mean, you're the wife of an NFL Super Bowl winning champion. But I mean, for so many women, we're all busy. We've all got all of these things that are on our plate. How do you prioritize time for Sydne? Like, how do you manage self-care to make sure that you can give your all to all of these different aspects and things that are important in your life?
Yeah, it's definitely a struggle. And now being with the pandemic that we're in, everybody is home. All my kids are home. Kevin was home for a longer period of time because of the uncertainty of the football season. So it was definitely a challenge to try to find time for myself, and I struggled with that. But now I am back in the gym. So the gym is like my time. I don't have to worry about the kids. I don't have to worry about Kevin. It's just a time to myself. And also, like, late at night, I am a night owl. So when everybody's in bed, I just am enjoying a glass of wine to myself, catch up on social media or any shows that I'm watching. So I've definitely gotten better at finding me time.
And everybody, I think, has found something that maybe they didn't know about themselves, didn't know about their partner or their family members, during the course of the COVID pandemic. I mean, I personally never in a million years thought that I would sit in Baton Rouge, Louisiana for more than 12 months without getting on an airplane. And that happened. And you know what? I guess I made the most of it and kind of enjoyed being at home. I mean, did you discover anything new about you or your family or your relationship with Kevin as you guys spent that additional time at home during the COVID pandemic?
Yeah, so, I just took in the time of being able to be around my kids. So a big thing with my daughter was that I was going back to work. When I had KJ, I was in between jobs, so I was able to be at home with him for the first year of his life. Yeah. So I took it as a blessing that, I could be home and be with my daughter and both of my kids for all that time, which, is a blessing because some people don't have the opportunity to do that. And as far as with my husband, I got to spend more time with Kevin because normally, come April, they're gone again. So it was definitely nice to have more one-on-one time to spend with him. We catch up on shows. We cook together. So it was just nice to kind of slow down and just have moments to enjoy with each other.
That's and there's some blessing in what we've all learned during the COVID pandemic, and maybe even some things that we'll keep doing. I mean, I can't promise I'm gonna be in Baton Rouge for like an extended period of time after this is over. I'm trying to get back on my Delta plane, come see you guys in Atlanta before I jet out to somewhere else. But Sid, I'm curious because from this perspective of an NFL family, with all of the protocols and everything that had to evolve and change in order for the NFL to have a season in the midst of what was going on, what did the fall look like and the actual in-season experience look like from your perspective as an NFL family? What did you guys have to do different? What were you shocked by? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so the first thing is testing. So we had to do a lot of COVID testing, which if you've ever gotten a COVID test done, it is not fun.
So not the cheek swab. They did the real deal.
No, they did the all the way
Oh
almost to your
no.
brain. Yeah, like tears. Yeah, they did the real deal. So getting tested all the time, and then you can't go out to eat, which
Mm.
was a big thing. Like you had to stay at home, cook, order in. You couldn't go do things. Like we would normally go to the park or take the kids to the aquarium, and when we were in Tampa, we couldn't do that. And then just being nervous about getting on a plane because me and the kids live in Atlanta full time. So we would have to get on a plane almost every weekend to go see him, which is, scary in itself because you don't know if, I don't know, this time I'll catch COVID. Like you just don't know. It's so much uncertainty.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then around the Super Bowl, we weren't allowed to see him at all because he pretty much had to go into strict quarantine. So, it was hard, but, it was what it was, but definitely something different.
And you guys got through it together and as a family. And I mean, the outcome of an insane 2020 was a Super Bowl win. And I mean, tell me a little bit more about what that experience was like. I mean, I saw you on Instagram. You were in the stadium. You guys were celebrating after. I mean, to see that crowning achievement and that moment, I mean, what was that like for you as his wife, as his supporter, and as someone who has seen him grow so much as a man?
Yeah, it was very surreal. Like even in the game, it was like we're really here, like at the Super Bowl. Like this is not real. Even after we won, it just didn't feel real. But I was so excited for him, that he was able to achieve this because not very many people can say they go to the NFL and get a Super Bowl.
Yes, no.
And then kind of just knowing his background, he in high school went to the state championship and lost. And then at LSU, he had the best year in 2011, and then we won't speak on that game.
No, let it go. Let it go, Lord. Let it go.
So it was just nice for, everything to come full circle and for him to be able to achieve that. Was great.
Sid, whenever you think about all of the experiences that you've had in life up to this point, is there a moment that you sit back and reflect on and say, you know what, that was probably one of the most difficult moments in my life, and I persevered. I got through it. I mean, what we're hoping to do with the GritIron Show, we want to motivate people through the stories, the personal stories of amazing women like you. And I'm hoping, maybe that if as you think about it and think back on it, is there a moment that you reflect back and say, man, I knocked that one out of the park. I didn't think I was going to be able to get through it. It was tough, but look at where I was able to go from that experience. Does anything come to mind?
Yeah, so my career is going to be the thing that comes to mind because, you go through school, you try to figure out what you're going to do, and then I graduated, moved to Arizona, and kind of just struggled with the fact of, okay, what am I going to do? Like Kevin has his career going, and I'm just out here trying to figure things out. So, I got into real estate. I was with a company that I loved, and then because it wasn't remote, we had an office there. When he got, well, not traded, but when he got picked up by Cincinnati, I kind of just had to put my whole career on the back burner. So that was a struggle for me, especially because I've worked as long as I can remember,
Since you were a teenager.
Yeah, since I was a teenager, since it was legal to work, I was working. So that was a struggle. And then I had my son, so it was kind of like, okay, don't really know what to do. Don't know if I can find some type of job to where if we move in a year, I'll still have a career. So that was definitely a struggle for me. And once we settled in Atlanta, I started working with the company I am with now. And kind of overcame that struggle. Like, I love where I'm at. I love what I do. I'm remote now, so if we have to pack up and leave,
we can keep moving.
Yeah, I still have my career. So yeah, that was definitely a hard time for me. Is kind of like just identifying like what I wanted to do, what Sydne, who is Sydne?
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
And whenever you find that person inside of you and you unleash, as I like to say, you unleash the beast, then you can really live in your truth, and you can walk in a spirit and in a confidence that means nothing in your way is an obstacle anymore. You can just persevere and overcome it. And, you know, one of the things that we're looking to build with the GritIron Show and with this community is we want to celebrate, but we also want to recognize other women that we see that have grit and that we admire. And so I'm curious, does anyone come to mind as someone that maybe you look up to, that you see that's out there, you know, going after their dreams and pursuing their goals, that you say, man, that girl's got it?
Yeah. So I've been blessed to have a ton of strong female examples in my life. So there's not one that comes to mind. There are many. You know, I'm a sponge. I absorb the best things from each person that I encounter. So whether it be my mom, who has, you know, a very strong work ethic, or my best friend who, you know, teaches me to, you know, don't take anything, you know, speak up for yourself. You know, it's just, I'm just surrounded by very, very positive women who are just, you know, killing it. So.
Killing the game and taking names, baby. That's what you want. Killing the game and taking names. Sydne, I really can't thank you enough for joining us on the GritIron Show. Like I said, I mean, you know, we not only want to celebrate the folks that are doing some great things on the field, but there are women like you who are out there who are, you know, they're moguls. I mean, you're working, you're doing a bang up job in what you do professionally, but you're also taking care of two amazing and beautiful little kids. And we want to share those stories, because those stories need to be told just as much as the stories of the people that are on the field. So thank you so much for joining us on the GritIron Show. We can't wait to have you maybe back on sometime soon, maybe before we kick off the fall NFL season. But please help me say a big thank you to Sydne Minter, mom, mogul, and wife of Super Bowl champion Kevin Minter. Thanks, Sid, so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And we're off. What'd you think?